I'm a YouTube strategist and thumbnail designer, and I have spent years working with some of the biggest creators on the planet. And there's one thing I've noticed that helps them create thumbnails that get more views. So in this video, I wanted to show you how you can use something which I call brand familiarity to instantly make your videos more clickable to your subscribers. This is the framework that we're going to work through, and it will change how you see YouTube. And once you learn this method, you'll notice that all of your favorite creators on YouTube are doing it. I'll reveal all of these 4 steps within this video. But before that, if you don't know what brand familiarity is, let me break this down for you. Familiarity simply reduces the effort it takes to process and interpret what's in front of us and reduce choice friction on the homepage, making it easier for our viewers, our subscribers, to say yes and click on one of our videos. So for example, how many times have you opened up the YouTube homepage and had so many different choices of videos, but you instantly recognized your favorite YouTuber and clicked on their video? I imagine it's quite high because it's something that I do this all of the time, and you probably didn't realize that you're doing this automatically and you're just not realizing. But the YouTubers more than likely have actually planned for this to happen. For example, the YouTube channel Fallow discovered that the title POV, head chef at a top London restaurant and a point of view thumbnail style, worked really well for getting their audience to click. They then took this a step further and replicated this format's success by switching out head chef for bartender, and they also saw that this worked very well. We got the millions of views, and so they started to piece together that this title and thumbnail format worked well for them. This format worked so well that almost all of their videos now lean into this style, making it really easy for fans of the Fallow YouTube channel to recognize their videos and click. This is what we call brand familiarity at work. Consistent and recognizable packaging can make the difference between a click and a swipe, especially if your audience has watched and enjoyed your content before. You can see this with many of the top creators on YouTube. They analyze the elements that are within their packaging that can increase that brand familiarity, and they start to use it more and more often. So I found some examples here that I wanted to show you. The first is Mr. Beast. So he has this consistent facial expression. He tends to always be on the left-hand side, and he has consistent colors. In this case, it's a lot of gold materials and objects that work for him. Sam the Cooking Guy, he uses the same font and food layouts for all of his photos. Dan Ko, he has the same facial expression, text style, and he has this black and white color. Lemino, who is one of my favorite YouTubers, he has these really flat and colorful characters and object graphics, and this gets him millions of views. Ryan Trahan, he's very much known for having bold blue skies with the same contrasting colors. And Athletic Interest, they have the same colored background and this 3-person thumbnail layout. And podcasts do this all of the time too. They tend to have one thumbnail style and they stick with it. And really, this can take some time to experiment, right? Because you need to find out what works best for your particular audience. As every channel is a little bit different because you're in different niches and your audiences are different age ranges and from different countries, and they have different things that work for them, and some people might find things clickbaity or they might not find it appealing. You have to kind of experiment a little bit to find what works for you. Now, what I would say though is that with YouTube's ABC testing feature, you could easily test new colors, thumbnail compositions, the objects, the power words, and more to kind of just see, are there any trends that you notice in your audience's behavior? Sometimes you may notice that certain niches tend to use the same colors or fonts. You might want to do that, or you might want to do something that's a little bit different, that's not going to blend in with everyone else. And so testing this is quite important. Don't just make an assumption and say, this is the thing that's working for me without actually testing it, because there might be something that's way better for establishing brand familiarity within your niche, and you need to uncover that. So it's going to take a little bit of time, but if you're in this for the long term, then it doesn't matter. And with this ABC testing feature from YouTube, you can do this so much more quickly now. You don't have to wait days and days like you did when you used something like TubeBuddy to A/B test your thumbnails. So going through this process and writing down what's working, what's not, is really good for identifying these core elements that should be within your thumbnail. If you ever feel lost on how to discover your brand familiarity for your thumbnails, you need to head to this framework that I created and go through it step by step. So here are the 4 simple steps that you need to follow. The first is that you need to research recurring video formats that are relevant to your channel or that have already performed well on your YouTube channel. Then step 2 is to search for packaging outliers that are related to the format. So these are essentially the thumbnails and the titles that have worked for you or have worked for competitors. And then in step 3, you need to create unique and recognizable packaging inspired by your findings from step 1 and 2. And that's where you're going to go into step 4, which is where you're going to publish those videos, analyze what's working from A/B testing these thumbnails, understanding what's working for you with these new thumbnail styles that are getting you views, make those tweaks, and rinse and repeat. And you're going to do this over and over until you've established what your brand familiarity is. What are the go-to thumbnail styles that work well for you? So as I said, you want to go through this process and write down your findings in Notion or a Notes app or something like that. You want to keep track of this stuff to essentially help you create thumbnail formats that you know perform well for you. So basically what we're looking for here is for you to have, let's say 3 to 5 elements that are typically within your thumbnails that do quite well, that make it a little bit more recognizable to your audience. Now, if you do this correctly, what you're going to find is that you're going to have a list of these elements that you know perform well for you. You know that if you put them in your thumbnail, it's going to result in returning viewers clicking because they recognize those elements. So as you go through this experimentation phase, please make sure to write down the elements within your thumbnails that are getting you more clicks. Or you may find that every single time that you use an orange background and a white font, that gets you more clicks. Maybe you find that actually not showing yourself within the thumbnail, but instead using another recognizable face gets you more clicks. Write these things down. Don't forget about them, because this is useful knowledge for you to have, and it's good to go back periodically and test this because audiences change. Something that's effective today might not work in a year's time. So you do need to test these from time to time. And that's when you would come back to the brand familiarity matrix and you just go through those steps again to ensure that your brand familiarity is always resonating with the current audience that you have. Over time, you'll just start to build your brand and you will have a certain style which will help you with creating thumbnails because you're not going to be staring at a blank page struggling to come up with an idea, and it's going to help you to get your viewers to recognize your videos on the homepage. If you're struggling with this kind of thing and you want a little bit more help with discovering your thumbnail style, then you can book a free 15-minute call with me on my website, and we can spend those 15 minutes helping to sort of find your style, what I think would work for you or what you can at least test. And if you obviously want more time, then you can book an hour with me in a clarity hour call, and you'll go away with a full thumbnail strategy for helping you discover your brand familiarity. Now, if you want to learn another secret hack that YouTubers use to get clicks, you may want to watch this video right here.